artificial intelligence. It's a topic that is at once amazing and also terrifying. Hey, look, we've all seen The Matrix, The Terminator, and 2001: A Space Odyssey. Political biases and the threat of manipulation of information are real with this. We know that big tech is dominated by one corner of the ideological spectrum, and that is at odds, frankly, with most of America. What does it mean for society generally? Here to discuss the issues and the controversies surrounding ChatGPT is Jake Denton. He's a technology expert with the Heritage Foundation. Jake, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. First off, whenever Bill Gates says that something's going to change the world, I tend to get nervous. I think people should be nervous too. Here's why. Left-wing activism is now Bill Gates' primary activity. But talk to us about what ChatGPT is and how Gates and others envision it being incorporated into society.
Yeah, so ChatGPT is a chat-based AI system that's primary function at this point in time will be to replace the ways in which we use search. So, it'll be integrated with Bing here in short order, then publicly accessible to the masses. And what that'll look like is instead of going to the search bar and typing in a question, you'll put it into this chat-based system, and it'll be a little more conversational, and it'll be a lot easier for you, in theory, to kind of access kind of more obscure articles, and it'll kind of be able to scrape the entirety of the internet and bring you information. But, as you noted, this leaves the door open to a great deal of bias and ultimately just Silicon Valley's worldview kind of dictating what results are delivered to you.
Yeah, it is. It's raising alarm bells over anti-Republican, anti-conservative bias. There have been a lot of examples that have come to light over the last several weeks. What do we know about that? And does it appear like they are trying to make fixes? I was playing around with it yesterday on the computer, and it does look like they're trying to sort of adjust some of those things.
Yeah, so a lot of the biases that we saw came from citizen journalists on Twitter, trying to get it to say funny things or, get it to write a poem about President Trump, for instance, and it just wouldn't. It would say that those types of political responses are coded against it in their terms of service and that, it's not allowed to do that. But then we would see it write a poem for President Biden. And it kind of revealed this broader infusing of the Silicon Valley bias. And ultimately, while they're able to kind of tinker with it and make the responses less egregious, it won't necessarily say that it won't respond to only Republican answers. It'll be the same thing, right? I mean, we're going to get the responses. They're going to be a little more cleverly crafted, but at the end of the day, the bias will still be there. It's there on the algorithms across Silicon Valley, and it'll be here with the AI systems.
Yeah, so what this does is it feeds you the answer. And then instead of, as you said, right now people would go to a search engine and they would, if they were trying to be intellectually honest, they would go to several different sources. Now you're trusting this computer to look at all of the sources and then combine it and give you an answer. So you're taking that research and that impetus to do that away from people. And so, again, they're just being fed. Now, but even if they fix some of these political biases, it also could be used to drive kind of a left-wing social narrative. I asked it to define a woman, and it gave me this whole diatribe about how you can basically be whatever you want to be, right?
Yeah, no. So, ultimately what these systems can be is a gatekeeper to the internet and ultimately to information. So whether or not Silicon Valley is going to kind of let it, run wild and give us all the answers out there, or it'll craft these kind of clever responses where it's more of a reflection of their HR policies in these corporations. It's tough to say. At the current state, though, it looks like this will just be another tool in their toolkit to try and push this narrative. And, whether it be the define a woman question, whether it be a simpler query, something like show me President Trump's campaign website, these are all things that they can basically weaponize the platform for. And there's nothing that we can do as a user to stop that. And so it exposes kind of a bigger issue of our reliance on these systems.
Yeah.
And their ability to control them.
And Jake, what was interesting, I did ask if a human child that that was at 39 weeks gestation is in fact a human being, and again, to be fair, it said yes, which cuts against what the Democrats and what folks on the far left are saying about the ability of late-term abortion, partial birth abortion, and some of those things. I wonder if this will be changed at some point to reflect the left's narrative. I'm going to keep an eye on that. But Jake, isn't this the dumbing down of society? People don't have to think, they don't have the research, they don't have to write about topics. We could be facing a double threat here: dependency on government and now dependency on this type of technology. It's going to intellectually depress the country and make us more easily controlled. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. We tend to become dependent on technologies that we shouldn't, and this is no exception here, right? So whether it be a simple research query or even just having it write your emails, this is going to be a much faster, streamlined version of your day-to-day tasks, and you'll find yourself a year from now having difficulty accomplishing those on your own. Mm-hmm. And so as we kind of see this merge into the corporate landscape, into our day-to-day lives, it's a little choppy right now. It's obviously still in beta. It really doesn't work the way it should. But when it is a refined product and it really can accomplish these things for us, it's going to be hard to decouple ourselves from this. And at the end of the day, it will dumb us down. It will make it harder for us to accomplish simple things.
Well, look, it certainly requires a whole slew of different regulations, from colleges and schools to maybe to government as well. Another threat from big tech. Jake Denton. Jake Denton from the Heritage Foundation. Thank you so much for being here, Jake. And we're going to be following up with you on this.